Part 2 in the deep dive of the Stats app with the developer himself. Welcome to Part 2 in a deep dive look of the Stats app with the developer himself, Ramin. Now in the first video we covered 2 of the 6 categories in the app. Now even though we have 4 more categories to go, it shouldn't take as long. Now we start with what Ramin does with the collective data coming in from most of the app users.
I often get asked that how many users contributed to this. So I don't answer that directly, but I say that enough so that these graphs are statistically meaningful.
Okay.
I didn't add this feature until I had enough users to make these histograms statistically meaningful.
Okay, good. And I noticed, just kind of a side note, that you put it in the order of S, X, and 3. You didn't put S, 3, and X.
I'm very mindful of Apple reviewers. I don't want them to get mad at me. And
Yes. All right, so now we can categorize based on the model, it looks like. And then we can also take all of the models by tapping on the S or the X or the 3, and you can take a look at all the histograms of all of those, right? So you can look at those. So
exactly.
what we're looking at here, for example, the one below, the first one is the histogram of efficiency across users. So I'm looking at a graph right now, and our histogram probably looks the same, at least that blue section.
Right. What it shows, it's easier to read the description below it.
Now
So
I'm
it
looking at the
interprets all
description, and
that.
like now it all makes sense, right? Shasta's efficiency is 107%. It's better than 91% of users. So I actually have pretty good efficiency based on
Yes,
everybody else.
you're on the top of the leaderboard.
So here,
Right.
but now we go to the next one. This is the phantom drain, and this is where I say, okay, I need to maybe research my phantom, because as I look at my phantom, it says Shasta's drain, that's my car's name. Shasta's drain is 1.14, is better than 0% of users. So I'm really low. Like I need to, because it looks like the best is around point, a little like a quarter, like 0.2, 0.25, and then it starts going down to where I am.
Yeah, most people are getting around 0.25, and
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. My Model S is at least. Now, if you filter for Model 3, it's probably more fair. You should compare yours with
Oh,
Model
I
3.
am.
So on the top,
I'm doing strictly Model 3, and it is showing that yeah, about about 0.25 is what we're looking at.
okay. Yeah, you are either using Sentry mode a lot, or you need to reset your password. And you don't,
I do use Sentry mode when I'm out and about. At home, it's not on.
okay, like
So
how many hours per day do you use Sentry mode?
it's on probably at work. So you're talking 8 hours. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah, that's high even for that because my wife uses Sentry mode 8 hours per day and she's at zero point 0.5.
oh, okay. So all right, I think I'm gonna do what you said. Maybe do the new password and kind of go
Right.
from there. All right. So and then kind of another fun piece of information and is looking at the firmware versions and which ones are out there. And again, this is based on all of your users, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And there are enough of them to give a, again, statistically reliable picture of
Yeah.
what's out there.
Yeah.
Um, so right now, and this graph updates once per day. So yours might be slightly different from mine, depending on which one is ahead. So I got 16.2 yesterday, and I thought it was the latest, only to see the graph, and
Yes.
looks like they're pushing 16.3 now.
Yeah. I think those were Model S's too that were getting them. And did your Model S get the 16 too?
I got 16.2, right?
Okay.
But no, I think it's Model 3 as well. There was speculation that 16.3 is for hardware 3, but I think that's not correct based on Twitter.
So they're thinking maybe bugs, fix the bugs, or
I think so, yeah, just another release.
yeah, interesting. Daily average efficiency across users. So Um, this really, there's nothing personalized about this. This is strictly just looking at,
Other people, everybody. So I was
yeah,
curious how I noticed that the efficiency histogram uh, is going towards the left when it was really cold, meaning lower efficiencies. And I wanted to quantify it. I thought it would be interesting to show people how efficiency varies with temperature. When the
yeah.
winter was here, assuming that most of my users are in the northern hemisphere, when the winter was here, we saw that the efficiency was really low, 84. And now look at it, 10% higher,
Yeah.
just because the weather. And
And
that's
what
pretty,
is that number on the left again? 84. What does that represent?
it's efficiency.
Efficiency. Okay. Yes.
Temperature, we are just inferring because around February, when this graph started, it was winter time in
Mm-hmm.
most places. And now it's 94%. Efficiency is 94%.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of gives you that visual. Wow, I get everybody, and probably including me, probably gets much better efficiency rating. All right, good. So it looks like we kind of covered that particular page. If we go on to the next one, this one's kind of, I think, a lot of the nuts and bolts that probably the other half, the non nerdy people, if you will, probably like the most, right? This is the functionality for the car. So pretty basic. I mean, this is all basic stuff, right? Pretty much everything that the Tesla app offers. Um,
And for that reason, I was hesitant to actually add this. But my users asked for this. And my argument was that Tesla app has this. Why do you need
mhm.
notification? But they wanted to do everything in the same place, so I added this.
Yeah, no, and that's what's great about it because I can go to this for everything. I guess one thing, and maybe you can answer this for me, is I don't use it a whole lot, more for just for fun because of the summon. Um, I don't think I've seen summon on here. Do you plan on doing that?
No, because of the liability. I'm scared of summon myself because I had close calls with it.
Yeah,
So I don't want the app to be responsible for that. And the other reason is that Tesla app does it fine.
yeah.
Let's just use that.
Will that map follow like the Tesla app does too? Like if someone's driving your car, it'll go along with you or along with the car?
Yeah, totally. It gets updated every 4 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Another thing that I added at the bottom of the map, which is typically ignored, is the share location.
Oh,
So
okay.
with one tap, you can text the location of the car to somebody.
So the next one is going to be the toggle or the cog. What do they call it? The cog. Let's start at the top. Frequently asked questions. So that's a good place I think for a lot of people to start maybe when they get the app for the first time, right?
I hope.
You
Most
hope.
of,
Well, let's say it here right now. When you download this app for the first time, I want you to go to the most frequently asked questions, and if it's not there, and you really have to, then you can contact support. Correct?
yeah, I don't mind. You can tap on support anyway. I usually answer within minutes if I'm awake.
And then tell a friend about this app.
It composes an email, a short email, if you want to recommend the app to a friend.
Oh, okay, good, perfect. That's cool. And then of course you can like the app and give it 5 stars, nothing less.
Please do.
By the way, so what does that do for you when you get those stars? What does it do for the developer?
It goes to it gets reflected in the App Store.
And so you obviously want more and more stars because then yes, you can follow.
Please.
And I highly recommend if you have this app that you follow him on Twitter because a lot of great information. Um, and then the smart features, so smart heating and cooling. So you can. So this looks like I haven't done this yet. So if I go in here and I do smart heating and cooling, I can go uh, tap the positive button or the plus button. So I did that. I can change the temperature, the day, the time. Execute this only once. Um, so if you execute it only once, then when it executes, you go to it, then this will be a blank page again, right?
Right. It deletes it after execution.
Smart battery prep. Now, what's the point of doing a smart battery prep? For example, if you navigate to a supercharger, isn't that going to do it automatically for you anyways?
Yes, but that's for a different reason. The use case here is that, especially for people who live in climate areas where it gets really cold in the winter or really hot during the summer, this helps them. For example, the cold scenario is easier to explain. Um, when you get to your car in the morning, if the battery is really cold, you don't get any battery regen
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
brake, and the efficiency becomes really low. Now, you and I don't experience it a lot because we live in California, but this was a feature that was requested by many users. What it does is that you tell it that, hey, I want the app to add a top of charge about 5% at this time. For example, if I want to get out at 8, then I will schedule it to add a top of charge of 5% at 6 a.m. Now, when I get in the car, the battery is conditioned already, and I can go out and I have regenerative braking, and I have my efficiency has increased, and that helps. It has a first order effect, positive effect on efficiency, which is very important for people who live in cold regions.
Okay.
Another use case that I saw actually yesterday, somebody did that was very clever, was to use this feature in order to make sure that the charging stops when electricity rates go
Oh,
higher.
okay.
So because this reduces the charge limit to the level that you specify, you can say that if my rate goes higher, let's say at 5 a.m., then I tell it to reduce the charge limit 2 hours before that, and then the charge stops at 5 a.m. when my rates are higher, my
Yeah.
electricity rates are higher.
They don't do that for me at my place, so I don't get the advantage of that. All right,
Right.
so we do the smart battery prep, smart sentry mode. I think I remember you mentioning once the new software comes out, this won't even be available anymore, right? Because you don't need it.
Yeah, I'll probably remove it. I was about to remove it, but some users asked me to just keep it for now to see how Tesla One works because this works for them. And I just got mine yesterday, so I'm gonna test Tesla's version in 16.2. Yeah, just to summarize, it enables Sentry mode automatically as you get out of the car, for except for places that you identify as safe, like your
Yeah,
home.
and it usually takes 10, like upwards of 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes, right?
It's I put that disclaimer there so they don't get a lot of complaints,
Yeah.
but it's geofence based. So when you leave your car, as you exit a circle around the car of radius about 100 to 200 meters, then it triggers it.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you don't get farther than 200 meters, it still checks every 30 minutes.
Ah, okay. Interesting. All right, then Siri shortcuts. This was really kind of cool when this came out because that's kind of where I did the unlock charge port, all that good stuff. So this is where you would go into here into this particular section. You go into tools, Siri shortcuts, and of all the different options, you just tap on it, and then you tell it what Siri command you want. You can personalize it whatever you want. So are you kind of tapping into Apple Shorts or what are they? What's it called?
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Yeah. All right. So are you tapping into Apple Shortcuts?
Shortcut app is separate. Shortcut app you can use in order to combine different tasks. So if you want, for example, I've seen users combining shortcuts provided by my app, Siri shortcuts provided by my app, combine them such that it unlocks the door and opens the charge port. You can do that by
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you could do one command and it would do it all at once. So
right.
yours is not using the Apple Shortcuts app. Now,
No,
the 0 to 60 measurement.
Oh yeah,
What's your
so
take on that?
it does measure the 0 to 60 if you're into it. It uses iPhone's sensors to do that, so you can actually use it to measure 0 to 60 for other cars. It doesn't have to be your
Yeah,
Tesla.
yeah, okay. That's just quite more of a fun feature. I personally am not really.
Yeah,
All
me
right, so
too.
here's what we were talking about earlier. So this is where you would find out what you're paying. You'd go to your energy bill and find out what you're paying per kilowatt hour, and then plug that into the app, and then that's going to tell you what each charging session cost you,
Right.
right? So that's how that's
Exactly.
going to work. Now, what if you have different rates for different times of the day? You can only have
That's
one, right?
very, yeah, I would suggest that if you know that there's a rate that corresponds to the time that you typically charge, is probably the cheapest rate that you would choose. Enter that. Otherwise, enter an average.
Yeah.
I entered an average of 35 cents, which is pretty high. How much
Wow.
is it up there?
Yeah, mine's only 15 cents.
Really?
1 5, yes.
Oh,
That's pretty good, huh?
that's
Um,
pretty good. I think
uh,
we have the highest cost of energy here
in
in
California,
San
probably in
Diego.
general. That's why I'm surprised it's so cheap here, but I'll have to double check that. Maybe I'll double check that. Because I'm hearing what yours is, I'm like, wow, that's a lot higher than mine. Um, and then supercharger price, uh, that's really probably not even really necessary to put that in there, right? Because it automatically will do that for you. It knows.
Well, the app knows when you're supercharging or not, but it doesn't know what the cost of
Oh,
supercharge is.
gotcha. So, and then you can find that out when you're plugged in.
Right.
Um, you can do the currencies, gas efficiency. This is what we're talking about. So right now, cost of gallon. Actually, I was just talking to a friend. It's up to $5 a gallon in some areas here. I've
Oh,
got mine at 30 mpg. So this really is that those last two and the gas efficiency. That's all going to um, help in the
saving.
equation for money that's saved.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the notifications. Um, these have been really one of my favorites is charging reminder. I am so
Yeah.
forgetful. So I get that notification every evening. Hey, you've dropped below 70%, charge it. And then and sometimes I'm even in bed. And I'm like, oh, I got to get out. I got to plug it in. So that has been, for me, has been a great feature. But I've got them all on. The car is unlocked, unoccupied, enable car unlock notification, enable open door notification. So a lot of great notifications in there. And then it looks like you've kind of got some how to's, like how to send an address to the car. You can change the app icon. So that's kind of fun. Just kind of some fun features, right? Your app
Right.
theme, Dracula, electric. Um, are those kind of simple things that you can do? You're just like, I'm going to try to make it so people can personalize it.
I got complaints about people saying that, oh, they don't like this color.
Oh my gosh,
One person
really?
complained that I don't like this blue color because it reminds me of Facebook.
Oh,
Uh,
jeez.
and one star.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, isn't that just it's amazing.
Right.
Um, Share your stats anonymously for creating statistical. So you can turn that off where your information is not being used for all those graphs, right?
Yeah, totally. That's another thing I should emphasize, which is in our privacy policy, which is very short, by the way, and it's written by me, so it's not legalese. Um, your data is stored on your private iCloud,
Okay.
and I don't even have access to it, except if you turn on this switch, if you permit your data to be used in order to aggregate and calculate those histograms that we saw in the previous tab. But your data, I don't have it even. It's in your iCloud, private iCloud drive.
And that's a Tesla iCloud, right?
No, that's an Apple iCloud,
Okay, the Apple. Okay. So
right? Which is the most
so the thing
secure
is,
thing in the
I
world.
guess what would be a reason why someone would turn it off?
No, no, people have, and I respect that. People don't want their data to be shared. even if you share your data, it's completely anonymized, and there's no person, not even your email is attached to it.
Yeah,
So
but some people just kind of like, I don't want to have any part of that. I don't want to be a part. And yeah, I guess
right,
that makes sense. And then of course the last page is looks like just kind of a page that where people can go to if they just want to find out more information about the car, right? I mean, these chat boards, the Tesla forums, Reddit, RPM Tesla, Teslarati, and then of course you've got the Tesla roadside assistance there as well. So
right.
what kind of motivated you to put that on there?
So I figured it's useful. So the first reason I put that in was that the Tesla official Tesla forum doesn't have a search feature.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tap on the Tesla forum, which is the first one, I added the test feature to it, so you can test for Sentry, for
Oh,
example.
look at that! You can search it.
Now we can search it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I added the other ones. I figured that's it's good to have all these things in one place so that you can join different forums that you may not be aware of. Occasionally, I get this thing that people say, my phantom drain is high, it must be your app. And one of the reasons that I put the histogram of phantom drain in the app is to show that what users of my app are experiencing in terms of phantom drain. So it objectively shows what is the distribution of phantom drain. Is it really high? Is it really low? Is it somewhere in between? So you can see for yourself objectively what the distribution is, and it's low. And it's really difficult to collect all the information that the app collects and does everything the app does with minimal phantom drain. And you have to play tricks and do adaptive algorithms, and I had to do that. And in a recent is like 3 months ago now, when Tesla changed the behavior of the car with respect to sleep pattern, I had to make algorithmic changes to adapt to it. And it's a complicated algorithm now. It learns how your car sleeps and adapts to it, and it doesn't wake it up when it needs to go to deep sleep. So it was a challenging thing to do, and now we can see the result of it. The phantom drain distribution is very low. Of course, if you use Sentry mode, its consumption is 1 mile per hour because all the cameras are running and recording constantly. By the way, when Sentry is on, it's not just that the cameras are on. In addition to that, they are recording constantly because when an event is detected, they need to dump what they have recorded, a few minutes before and a few minutes after. There are a few of them. My favorite hidden feature is the widget because I've noticed that a lot of people don't use the widget in the app, and it's the one that if you swipe right from the screen, even lock screen, you see the widget. It's this one, obviously. So I tweet about it often.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Don't
yeah,
tell
yeah.
don't tell me you don't use it.
I don't, because I don't know about it, right? So that's why I was asking about the hidden features.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah, you gotta totally use it. This is it.
yeah.
So you got a lot of. It allows you to,
Oh, and it's got all
you
like
know,
some of the cool. And can you customize which functions it will do on the widget? No,
no, we
no.
can't. No,
Okay,
but it's got enough stuff in it.
got a little selfish
I
there,
think
right?
I think apps are better when they're curated by the author of the app, as opposed to letting everybody um, customize it. It's the Apple approach, right?
Yeah,
It's Apple says, "Hey, I know better. I do this for you so that you don't have to."
yeah.
And Android way is that okay, you the user customize everything, and some people may like that, but if thought has gone through curating things, I think it would work better. So yeah, the widget is one hidden feature which A lot of people don't use widgets in general, which I think is the best part of iOS. It allows you to do things quickly, like unlocking the car, put the car in Sentry mode,
Yeah.
opening the front trunk, all without opening an app or even unlocking the phone. You're right. You can use Siri to do that now.
Yes. I'm a big
And
Siri fan. I love using my voice.
yeah,
All right, so you got
it
the
works better
you
for
got the
people without
widget.
an accent.
So yeah, I can imagine. So you got the widget. Any other kind of cool hidden features?
Another hidden one is the Siri ones that some people don't know and don't use. The Watch app is another hidden one because Watch apps in the App Store are not advertised
Mm-hmm.
properly, I think.
Yeah.
It's that thing in the side. So somebody was telling me that they didn't even know that the app has a Watch app until someday they just looked at the apps on their watch. So, oh, this icon, I recognize it. It's a stats app.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was kind of surprising me the first time I got. I think I tweeted it one day. Um, I was waiting. My son was at school, and I was kind of waiting for him. And I was outside my car, and next thing I know, there's this big Siri, Sentry mode on my watch. I'm like, oh, cool! And that was from your app. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So,
I remember that. I remember your
yeah,
post.
yeah, that
Oh,
was
another hidden feature is that even if you use the watch app, is the complications. And complications are those things that appear on your watch face. And
oh
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
and in this case, it shows the range and the battery percentage of your car. You can just glance at it and say, okay, the car has this much range. And if you tap on the complication, it launches the app on the watch app
Oh,
on your
okay, yeah.
watch.
There you go. I just tapped on it, and it's connecting. Cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so is there anything else about the app, about what you do in general, that you feel you want to kind of get communicated out there?
Yes, definitely look at the settings tab because a lot of features are enabled there and are configured in the settings tab of the app. Siri, obviously, phrases, you can configure them in there. And there are a lot of them. And then there are smart features, smart heating and cooling, smart battery prep, and smart sentry. These are the things that are all set in the settings tab.
Well, that wraps up this three-part interview with the developer of Stats app, Ramin. And of course, we got to know the guy behind the app, and we took that nice deep dive into the app itself. Now, hopefully this answered questions for those of you who already have the app, and for those of you who may still be on the fence or have been on the fence about whether or not this app is right for you, hopefully to answer some questions for you as well. And if after watching all these interviews you should still have some questions, be sure to write those in the comments section below, and I'll do the best that I can to answer them. Of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can do so. And if you're going to be ordering a Tesla Model S, X, or 3 anytime soon, you can use my referral code for 1,000 miles of free supercharging. So until my next video, stay positively charged.